larger LGBTQ movement or the women movement, the representation is fairly less in that way. Say for instance, if today if you ask me that give me 5 names who are queer women and who are also have established themselves or people consider themselves as queer leaders, maybe I won't be able to give you 5 names. We are still struggling with the basic needs. There are no peer counselors. In today's day, any organization who is working for community rights, LGBT community rights, they have specific peer counselors for across the spectrum. They deal with a lot of mental health issues and issues related to health. There are people who are still facing issues with in their own household itself, and it's very difficult to express for women to come out and say that, look, hey, I come from a different sexual orientation and these are the violences, whether it's physical or mental or verbal, that I'm going through.
I'm sure. Have you ever faced cases like this where women from the community has faced some violence in their own home and come to you and looking for safe space?
Yes, definitely.
How do you handle those?
There is a good thing about this new generation coming in. They are pretty badass.
So this year on Women's Day, the Assam Tribune is introducing a new campaign. It's Women of Impact. Today we have with us Pinki Singha, a member of AFABulous Northeast collective. Let's start talking to her now.
Thank you, Indrani.
Very awkward. See?
Yeah.
Anyway, first and foremost, could you tell us something about yourself first, so that our readers also, audience also know?
So, I at times say that a small national integration lies within myself at times, because I'm a Meitei and I come from Barak Valley, from Silchar, born and brought up, studied there, and then very much to the Barak Valley culture. Came to Guwahati to study, and now it's been more than 1.5 decades living here. My name is Pinki Singha, and I have been associated with the larger queer movement, and now precisely if I say with the LBQ movement. LBQ, if I break it down, then it's lesbian, bisexual and queer women community, at least for 5-6 odd years now. So along with professionally working in a public health sector, I'm also trying to chip in to contribute to the challenges, to bring out the challenges of the LBQ community across Northeast India.
Thank you so much for that. So first question I would like to, since we are focusing on Women's Day, what does Women's Day mean to you personally, or what does it, if you could shed some light, what does Women's Day mean to a queer woman also?
I think the term women has indefinite definitions. Every individual define it in their own way. Centuries has went by, but today, when we talk about Women's Day, it feels very personal. To me, Women's Day these days has become, a day where we gather a group of like-minded people and maybe talk about ourselves, talk about our challenges, and maybe also celebrate a little bit of achievements and all. But if you see for the larger community, I think it's more like a day where everybody look up to us, saying that, okay, this is a specific day, let's see who is doing what. And at least we get a small space, I think, because I've heard a lot of people saying that every day should be a Women's Day and all. But somewhere we also should realize that why this specific day has been, coined in such a way that some kind of limelight, talking about our challenges and tell the world that, hey, we are here, and, and almost, half of the population is women. So, we should also get the opportunity to be heard in the way we want, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. So, do you think the struggles of a queer woman are adequately represented in today's women movements?
It's a very tricky question in that way. See, women has, growing up we go through a lot of, oppressions, and there are a lot of intersections to it, right? Say, for example, if I am a minority, and if I am a, women and women from minority, women who comes from a different, lower caste, and women who is queer. So there are a lot of, intersections to it. So being a queer woman also add up one more layer to that, invisibility, or one more layer to that challenge of growing up. Representation in the larger movement, if I say, I have always felt that, at least since the time I have seen the larger, LGBTQ movement or the women movement, the representation is fairly less in that way. Say, for instance, if you ask me that, give me 5 names who are queer women and who are also have established themselves, or people consider themselves as queer leaders, maybe I won't be able to give you 5 names. Pan-India, I'm saying. There are only a couple of names that I can recognize or people can look up to as a role model. So definitely I would say there are underrepresentation. But then, having been said that, the larger feminist movement has also, in bits and parts, in layers, have recognized some queer identities. But then, the challenges of the larger movements are also so fragmented that it's difficult to say that it has adequate representation.
Okay. So, for you, what does the empowerment look like in queer women today?
I don't think much have been changed since I have started.
Okay. In last 10-15 years?
I won't say 10 years per se, but at least, 7 to 8 years since the time I have seen the community to grow. I know I have been there before 377, joining the movement back in 2016, 17, like that. Before NALSA, before 377. A lot has been changed after NALSA, after the Transgender Persons Protection of Right Act 2019, after the 2018 6 September judgment. But if I specifically have to talk about queer women, maybe it's like when a larger change comes, you also be a part of it. So we have been just a part of it. There are no specific protections or specific schemes that we have, or there are no specific things or good things that have happened in the past years, which will help queer women to shape their life. We are still struggling with lot of basic issues. For example, if I say, today if a queer woman wants to go out there and wants to meet a queer affirmative doctor to talk about their sexual and reproductive health rights, I bet you that no gynac would even be familiar enough what are the challenges of a queer woman. So we are still struggling with the basic needs. There are no peer counselors in today's day. Any organization who is working for community rights, LGBT community rights, they have specific peer counselors for across the spectrum. They deal with a lot of mental health issues and issues related to health. But when it comes to people who are female assigned at birth and their challenges, we hardly have any resource to it. So I think for me, nothing has changed pretty much, and it's our responsibility to some extent to kind of take it up and see that what can we do for our own community. So,
since you were associated with this collective, can you tell us what kind of issues or what kind of women, things these women are bringing up to you?
Oh yeah, I mean, the first challenge is with expressing their sexual orientation and gender identity. Okay. For example, if you see me, I have often grown up with statements like, "You look like a boy." So we have defined how a women look like. So if you and me are sitting and you're wearing a salwar kurta, then it's more relatable to tell you that you are a woman. I'm less of a woman. So there are a lot of non-effeminate people who are, female at birth, and they identify themselves as women. But then, with everything that, you walk through the street, you work in a workplace, then you have been seen like less women. And then with that, it's pretty, people put it like very easily, that, they face that challenge where they are struggling with their own, gender identity and sexual orientation. And we don't have enough counselors for that. Second is, of course, there are a lot of relationship challenges. There is a recent Netflix series that got, I think it's an amazing time to, yes. So very beautifully, I was listening to one of the interviews where Konkona Shin Sharma is saying that if you see the story, they have not put the story in a way that, two women's being together is such a big thing. They have put the story like any other story where the main accused person is a female partner, that's it. So, and it has shown a lot of layers of, relationship struggle between two women, which is again, we come up, at times I need to become a relationship counselor in some cases. There are a lot of challenges in terms of health. And if I say health, then it's more on the SRHR.
Okay.
So if two women are, together, how they should deal with menstruation, how they should deal with, challenges coming with the menstrual health, with their sexual health. So these kind of very, in terms of health perspective is what we often get questions to, support, like, can we connect them to a affirmative gynecologist? And then I had to kind of go back and see whom do we have in the locality. So
do we have any?
I mean, in a very layered way, yes. We do know a couple of gynecologists, but then I have to personally talk to them, explain the case prior, so that I make sure that whosoever is landing there is at least getting the least of discrimination. So these are like basic things that we are still struggling with. And I'd also like to highlight, see, we have many, the country has got a lot of schemes for women, whether are welfare schemes, education schemes, or whether it is schemes which protect women. Say, for example, there is gender-based violence, act. There is, there is the Women Protection Act and all. But unfortunately, those, so the idea of the Abla Nari is very specific to somebody who has got married, jisko, dowry ke wajah se or for some any reason, domestic violence. But it's very difficult to make people understand that Abla Nari is only not the one who got married and is getting issues with the in-laws or with the family. There are people who are still facing issues with in their own household itself. And it's very difficult to express for women to come out and say that, look, hey, I come from a different sexual orientation and these are the violences, whether it's physical or mental or verbal, that I'm going through. So there is no specific protection for that. If you go up to a police station and want to complain a file, you have to file a complaint for that. You actually don't know how do you deal with it. We have a recent case of that. And there is a lawyer, a queer affirmative lawyer. She herself is a woman, and we tried to tell her that this is the situation, and she was pondering that what exactly shall we where can we frame this case. So these are the basic challenges that still we are stuck into,
So बहुत मतलब
very backward. It is. I mean, that's why I said lots of things have changed in the country with 377 and the Nalsa judgment, but if you say about queer women in specific, I don't think an inch has moved yet.
Okay, it's sad to hear.
Yeah, it is sad, but then we have to see, like, people who are in some way a little bit of privilege. What can we do to kind of bring in some changes?
So I'm sure, have you ever faced cases like this where women from the community has faced some violence in their own home and come to you and
Yes,
looking
yes.
for safe space. And
Yes,
all.
yes,
So
definitely.
how do you handle those? Matlab?
So there was this case from Upper Assam, somewhere near in the Golaghat district. I won't name the village per se, okay? But this person, they are, a queer women couple. They came, they ran away from their house. Both of them have landed up Guwahati and was seeking for, and they got some job in, I'll also know what name the corporate, but more like delivering items, okay? But unfortunately, due to some, I guess, some technical issue in the workplace, they had no job. And they were staying in a small rent house and they didn't even have enough money to to feed them. So, yeah, I reached out to a couple of community organizations, got some one-time support for them. But of course, one-time support is not enough. But then they had to again go back to their family. But when, they went back to somewhere near Golaghat, so the village people started, creating, saying things and telling because one of their mothers, that if the person, they both of supposedly are staying with you, then you have to maybe leave your work and leave this village, because we cannot allow these kind of things happening. What impression would that fall to our children and all. So I even spoke to their mother over call, and I somehow also got some support to start a small thela for them. In here we have this food carts, like a small place where you can just roti, ghugni and all those stuff, So that I got support from the Humsafar Trust, one-time support for doing that. So even after doing that, they were there together for some time. But eventually, as I said, one has to be very, very financially independent in order to even fight for your own, rights. Because at the end of the day, relationship also suffers in absence of, proper, for sustaining yourself. If you don't have enough resources, then somewhere you see things falling apart, even the relationship falling apart.
But that goes for every relationship.
Yeah, every relationship. But the layers where it could have been maybe a little bit easier, whether they were been allowed to live in the village and to take care of their livelihood, that would have been much easier as compared to having no home to stay. So we tried to even reach out through a lawyer. This is the case I'm talking about, where we are trying to explain that can we put something to the police station nearby, or the block police, when they have a block. It's not even a police station per se, but there was a block outpost kind of a thing. So we wanted to make sure that even if they're staying at their home, that they are not physically being harmed by the surrounded people. But then we couldn't do even in that. As I said, even for domestic violence or for violence against women, it's very specific to, this definition of Abla Nari is very different. So we find challenges to even get a legal protection for them.
Yeah. Interesting. Since we're talking about this, and you have already mentioned, I'd still like to know, so you don't think that conversations around gender equality, especially coming to queer women, there aren't enough right now happening? Area, if we say.
See, I won't think it's not happening, but there are layers to it. Like somebody who is educated and someone who can earn their own livelihood, but still who is, within the self-stigma, is not able to come out and live their life freely. For them, maybe a little bit of push works. I know a lot of women who are educated, earning by themselves, and if you actually talk to them, they can actually choose what their heart says, like how they want to live their life. In these cases, it's a bit easier because we are not getting into the basics of looking into somebody's sustainability, how they will survive and all. But cut to when we go to the lower economic class who doesn't have education and they are struggling, as the last case that I said, for them, I think it's very difficult. So when you say that in the larger movement, how things are moving with the digital era and the kind of things that we refer to, whether you can say journals or movies or you have a lot of representation these days. When we were, maybe in our, teenage, we neither have, representation or nor have role models to look up to. But now that has changed a lot in that way. Yeah. But people who have access to that, it's way easier for them. But there is a huge section of women who don't even have
the access.
Yes. So in that way, it's a bit, in one cases, if you see a lot of women who have come out and expressed themselves, you see, wow, things have been changing. But cut to, if you see the other side of it, you think that, oh, nothing has been changed.
Since we're going into the whole thing, what kind of world do you think the next generation people will live in, especially people belonging to the community?
Oh,
what does it look like for you?
There is a good thing about this new generation coming in. They are pretty badass. I mean, and good for them. Good for them in a way that, ironically, and women who, from whatever background they are coming from, whether it's lower economic class or someone who comes from a privileged background, but the burden of the burden of taking care of your family has always been on the women. Mm-hmm. You need to take care that for your whatever you do, it reflects to the culture of your family, right? So in that way, even if that's what I'm saying, even if people are educated and they're independent, still they are not able to, because the self stigma and the thought of prioritizing yourself is the lowest in the pyramid. First you prioritize your family, your father, and then what society will say and everything. And then you prioritize your needs or what you want actually. It's so down the pyramid across any caste, creed, religion, culture, economic class, women are from. So in that way, what I see that now with the current generation or the generation to come, they have kind of, moved that pyramid of what they want.
They're putting that first.
Yes, that they are, I don't know, maybe first that would be good, but I have seen that priority settings gradually moving up, which is very nice to see. Because at the end of the day, no matter how compromising situation or environment you're living in, at the end of the day when you sleep at night, it's you who has to deal with your own challenges. So I think the generation next to come, I would only say that it's very good that I see women prioritizing themselves, but also at the same time, it's very important those who comes from the privileged background would take up something so that they can contribute towards the community at large. Maybe a small step, maybe just being available to the other one. So if you say I have a group of 5-6 friends and I think that somebody might be struggling with expressing their, maybe gender identity or sexuality, just tell them that, I'm there, we can talk without any prejudice and without any pre-notions. And I am there to hear. So even to have that support, because women don't even have that. So if you know that somebody is there, if you're in the lowest time, you can reach up to, even that helps. So we need to open up and start helping each other in that way. Stories where say, two women cannot become friends. I mean, these are cliche. It's not. Of course. So that I don't see in the current generation. I think, they, as like generation, we know a lot. I know a lot of queer women who are in their 50s and 60s and late 40s, And when they talk to us, and because I'm someone who would like to ask questions and see how things have shaped over the years, they think that we live in a much better world. So I think with the coming generation, for women at least, the world will be a little better place. That's all I can hope.
Hopefully. Okay. Lastly, since you shed a lot of light into what actually goes on, I don't think a lot of people in the society knows there are these things also happening right around the corner. So, any last message for women from the community, not from the community, just women per se?
I think, one message to pick is very difficult because so many things you want to say.
So many things.
If I have to, the current situation, if I have to say that, it's important to speak up,
Okay.
irrespective of what, sexual orientation, gender identity. And not talking about community like LGBT community, LBQ, lesbian, bisexual, queer women per se. I'm saying women at large. It's important to speak up. And this is a very nice time. We are living in a very good time right now where, we can claim our spaces. We can, I think, have a space where we can, talk, communicate, and also the camaraderie. Is that the word? Sorry, I'm not very good with words. It's important to stand by each other, and it's important to speak up. So just don't hold back. Otherwise, the world has been judging. Nothing, the judgment has not changed over centuries since the existence. So why to worry about being judged or being called names? It's very important to speak up, because what I have realized over the years is forget about the outcome when you speak up. What worst can happen? But when you speak up, you yourself, you feel little lighter. So it's very important to speak up. So don't hold back. Speak your mind out, because that's the first thing. I think communication and to speak up is something that gives you a lot of courage.
Plus, it might help another person.
Yeah, absolutely. And we somewhere have been told to not, express ourselves or not speak up our mind, because again, that has been the society that, we have built over centuries. But things are gradually changing now. And that's my only message, maybe, that, don't hold back and just speak up.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming to this episode. A big thank you to the Lily for their hospitality today. Thank you so much. See you in the next one.
Do not forget to like, share and subscribe to the Assam Tribune.